The Caravan Channel. Sponsored by Adrian Flux Insurance.
Hello and welcome to the Caravan Channel, the show all about buying, owning and enjoying your caravan. Now, last time out for our 4th summer special, we were concentrating on twin axle caravans, and this time we're talking twins again, twin beds, or fixed twin beds to be precise. It's one of the most popular layouts on the market at the moment, and we've a whole show dedicated to fixed bed fans. Here's what's coming up. I'll be taking a look around an exciting all-new luxury tourer from the Swift Group, then comparing it with some of the top-spec rivals we've tested over the past year. We'll look back at the kind of car you might choose to tow your fixed twin van with our expert David Motton. And then I'll hitch up a bargain basement Bailey and head for the hills to prove that this layout works as well for families as it does for couples. The Swift Group introduced its entirely timberless Smart HT construction around a year and a half ago. It's rightly received plenty of praise since, but there has been one big drawback for many, and that's price. Reserved only for the top spec Swift, Elegance and Sterling Continental ranges, it remains out of reach to many buyers. Well, now Swift are looking to rectify that situation with this, the new Conqueror. It's still a luxurious van, but it's one that aims to bring that luxury feel to a more cost-conscious audience. At the same time, it raises the Conqueror range from above the mid-market Challenger SE, giving it a more distinct upmarket separation. From the outside, this Conqueror 565 looks much like its elegant sibling, and still features a generous kit level with Alco ATC, heavy-duty steadies, fixing bars for the optional bike rack, plus external gas and power points. There are 9 layouts in all. That's 2 more than the Elegance, and it includes a pair of completely new rear island bed floor plans. Today, however, we're in the 565, which features fixed twin beds. Everyone in the range gets this lovely big panoramic sunroof, and that makes for a very pleasant ambience, although it does feel a tiny bit more dated than the Elegance in here. This fabric might look familiar. That's because it's the Elegance 2015 fabrics, because they've moved to leather for 2016. Look carefully and you will see the odd cost saving here, such as up front, where this bank does without a 12 volt and USB socket, and behind me you won't find that lovely LED mood lighting. However, this is still a good sized lounge that'll seat 4 or maybe even 6 at a push, and at night these sofas form a lovely big double bed. One of the key features for both the Conqueror and the Elegance ranges for 2016 is this new control panel. It's called the Command System, and it truly brings caravanning into the modern age, because it allows the Alde heating, the lighting, the water levels, even the tracking of your caravan to be controlled via an app on your smartphone or tablet. Things really start to look different when you get into the kitchen area. These black worktops are much more practical than the white of the Elegance, and because this unit's much deeper, you get a proper domestic style drawer beneath. I also really like these illuminated splashbacks, the underslung sink and the proper worktop flap. This isn't a massive kitchen, but it is well equipped, with a separate oven and grill, dual fuel hob, a microwave and an omnivent above. Opposite, there's a new Dometic tower fridge, and this, together with some thoughtful changes to the floor plan, has helped to address one of my major complaints about the 565 Elegance when it was launched last year, namely bed lengths. The slimmer fridge and moving the table from the rear to this underbed storage has helped to liberate plenty of extra space. This near side bunk is now perfectly usable for 6-footers. The offside one is still quite a bit smaller though, so do check it fits before you place your order. Other nice details in here include a generous mirror and a new television mount that locks in place when you're on the road. As for the washroom, this somehow manages to feel much more spacious despite the tweaks to free up floor space elsewhere. There's still a huge sink, plus a usefully large wardrobe, yet it never feels cramped and there's plenty of space to use it as a dressing room. Only the shower cubicle feels a little narrow, though it is fully lined and features an EcoCamel Orbit water-saving showerhead. You might be forgiven for thinking that Swift is shooting itself in the foot, creating a cheaper caravan that will steal sales from its flagship range. But by bringing that top spec construction to a more affordable marketplace, it's creating a unique identity for the Conqueror, separating it from mid-market models and creating space for the elegance to move more upmarket still. Perhaps more importantly, with subtle tweaks to the floor plan, in the 565 it's created a fixed bed layout that really works. The new Conqueror enters a competitive marketplace, with all of the European manufacturers creating their own versions of this layout. Earlier this year, Mike LeCaplin took a look at German brand Hymer's interpretation, while I was at the NEC to check out a new luxury flagship from Luna. And late last year, I got a sneak preview of the brand new Bailey Unicorn.
There are no two ways about it. Hymer is a seriously major player in its home market. Visit one of the big German shows such as Dusseldorf, and Hymer doesn't just have a very large stand, it actually commandeers an entire hall. So you'd imagine then that such a mighty force as that would spread across most of Europe, and to an extent it does. But two things have always slightly hampered it here in the UK: price and weight. And both of those things aren't going to go away. This is the latest of the breed. It's called the Nova GL 541, and it's the smallest caravan that Hymer currently offers here in the UK. Its twin single beds are certainly on trend at the moment, but it does without the usual accompanying full-width end washroom. It looks ideal for 4 people, but we're really keen to see how it stacks up as a family 4-berther here in the UK. As with many Hymers, you enter the 541 straight into the main lounge area, and certainly at first glance it looks like a cracker. As ever, the cabinetry looks hugely expensive. While this upholstery may look just a little subdued, it is extremely comfortable. You could probably fit 5 or 6 people in here with consummate ease. It's not often you see a single pane front window in a premium caravan either, but it really seems to suit the Hymer. Factor in the additional opening roof lights, and there's certainly plenty of daylight in here. Better still, there's a sort of media centre over by the main entrance doorway, which contains the TV and the stereo. There's also a couple of charging points for USB and mains power. Look more closely though, and there are 1 or 2 small issues. The main one concerns available lighting. There are spotlights in here, 7 of them in fact, but they're all sunk into the ceiling. There's no low-level lighting whatsoever. We really do reckon that come night time there's going to be quite a few dark corners in this lounge. The galley area is traditionally a bit of an Achilles heel where continental caravans are concerned, but the 541's is, well, it's pretty good really. Importer Loudons has sensibly insisted that Hymer fits its UK spec vans with this proper dual fuel cooker. This works well in conjunction with the high-level microwave. There's no extractor fan in here, but this roof light does open fully. Hymer has also taken full advantage of Dometic's new slimline fridge. It takes up much less floor space, but still contains plenty of room for all those groceries. And we do like the removable freezer box, by the way. High and low storage space is pretty good, but there's not much in the way of worktop space. If you've got a lot of food to prepare, you really will have to migrate to the main lounge table. On the face of it, the 541's washroom looks like a pretty average all-in-one affair. It has all the right kit, including underfloor heating no less, and it's well lit with 3 spotlights and a clear pane roof light. But there are more spacious affairs out there. Or are there? That's not the whole story, because this washroom has a little secret up its sleeve. Release this catch, the entire vanity unit swings out and back to reveal a spacious and fully lined separate shower. It's been done before, of course, but this setup works particularly well. And so to bed. We've yet to see a Hymer caravan with below par sleeping accommodation, and this 541 is certainly no exception. These twin single beds are more than big enough to accommodate full 6-footers with ease, and each of the sumptuously thick mattresses sits on a proper sprung wooden base. Each gets its own reading light, padded headboard and even a stereo speaker. And this central chest of drawers behind me is more than big enough to accommodate sundry spectacles, books and magazines. There is, however, a bit of a problem in here, and yet again it concerns lighting, or rather the lack thereof. We've searched high and low in here, I promise you we have, but it really does seem that these spotlights in the corner are the only lights available in here. Certainly it seems like it's going to feel quite gloomy in here after dark. Hymer has a small but fiercely loyal following here in the UK, and it's really not hard to see why. The sheer breadth of engineering that goes into each and every example is there for all to see. This 541 may be the baby of the range, but it really does tick an awful lot of boxes. It looks great, it feels beautifully made, and the layout is pretty much spot on. Those lighting issues do need to be addressed though, and the old Hymer bugbears of price and weight do come to the fore here. This particular example costs over £25,500 and weighs 1900 kilograms all in. But for Hymer's many advocates, we suspect these two issues aren't really issues at all.
Like all Deltas, it's a top-spec twin-axle van, and it's a good-looking van. I particularly like those LED taillights at the back. And because it's a Luna, it's relatively lightweight. All in, fully laden, it weighs in at 1,710 kilos. So far, nothing new, but it's really interesting when you step aboard. Now, didn't I promise you luxury? The Delta TS shares its layout with the single-axle Clubman SB, and that means it has one of the floor plans of the moment, a front lounge and fixed twin berths at the rear with a full-width end washroom. It really is quite a special place to be in here, particularly thanks to that sky view roof above. Now, Luna has its own theory about glazing. It doesn't hold with the front sunroofs for the very simple reason that if you put a sunroof here, you can't have these really useful lockers. The sky view gives you plenty of light, and light is a theme throughout this van, particularly at night when this really natty LED lighting comes to the fore. There's a lovely atmosphere in here, whatever time of the day it is. At night, this front lounge makes a good-sized double. It's not massive, but it's a decent size for two people. As you'd expect of a van that costs £1 shy of 25.5 grand, the TS really doesn't stint on kit. You get programmable Aldi wet central heating, of course, as you do in every top-spec van now. Luna's new control panel. I'm not quite so sure about this little shelf here, though. It seems to only have space for a bottle of wine and half a baguette. But on this side of the van, there's plenty more storage options. There's these rather natty backlit cupboards, and down here, one of the best kitchen cabinets I've seen, with vegetable racks, cutlery drawers, everything. Initially, you might think there's not that much worktop space here, but there's a pop-up flap at the end which gives you plenty of space. And of course the obligatory dual oven and grill and dual fuel hob with 4 rings. But I promised you something special, didn't I? Well, that lies just behind this screen. Because in the back here, you'll find a couple of really fantastically big twin single beds. They're 6 feet 2 inches in length, a little bit low set, but really comfortable. Ideal for sitting back and watching the TV on the second of 2 television mounts. This really is a special place for a couple to enjoy their caravan. Although these bunks are fairly shallow, there's a really good amount of storage space underneath, and it can be accessed from both inside the van and out. But we haven't yet found a wardrobe. Well, to track that down, we need to go through this door at the back and check out the van's pièce de résistance. In this simply fantastic washroom, there's not one but 2 big wardrobes. There's also a posh Dometic loo, a heated towel rail, and one of the biggest shower units you'll find in a caravan. This washroom is just perfect for couples who like to tour in true luxury. I have to admit, I was a little bit sceptical about the TS at first. To put that traditional single-axle layout in such a massive twin-axle van seems a little bit like overkill, but you only have to spend a small amount of time inside, check out those huge beds and that fantastic end washroom to see how it would hold an awful lot of appeal to a couple who take their touring very seriously. The Unicorn has been Bailey's flagship model since it replaced the Senator range in September 2010. It was revised 2 years ago, and now we have this, the 3rd generation Unicorn 3. It's an upper mid-market model and faces stiff competition from the likes of the Swift Challenger SE and the Luna Clubman, but it's Bailey's bestseller and it's the UK's most popular single range. But you don't need spec sheets to see the dramatic change in its appearance. Inspired by the success of its motorhome ranges, Bailey has decided to replace the magnolia sidewalls of the old model with this crisp polar white. It's the first all-white Bailey Tourer in decades and may upset some traditionalists. Me, I'm a big fan. I think it returns to the simplicity of the Unicorn 1, but brings it up to date with a much fresher, more contemporary look. The front end is more coherent too. It retains that tall opening window, but the new graphics better integrate it with the design of the old eyebrow style. There are new plastic bumpers front and rear, featuring this stylish Bailey script, chromed grab handles, and the sidewalls preview the new company look with a stylised B. At the rear, the new Unicorn follows the lead of last year's Pursuit with this curved roofline, which, Bailey claims, improves fuel consumption on tow by up to 10%. Under the skin, Bailey's worked hard to improve stability on tow by moving as much weight as possible towards the centre of the van. The gas bottles are here, as is the battery under the floor, and these large wet lockers have been moved back towards the axles. The front one is large enough for a Wastemaster and easily accessed from inside the van. Inside, the biggest changes are to this kitchen area. It's no longer split level, and all single axle Unicorns now feature this Dometic slim tower fridge freezer. It's bigger than before and also mounted higher, so you don't have to bend down to get things out of the vegetable drawer. It's also slimmer than the old unit, and together with various refinements to the layout, it frees up space. It certainly feels more spacious in here, and that's aided by things like paring back these bulkheads. There's more worktop space too, plus a lift-up flap should you need more. Moving the fridge from beneath the worktops to the near side also frees up space for extra storage to make up for those centrally mounted gas bottles. The standard upholstery is the attractive Kensington cloth, but this Cadiz features the optional Trafalgar trim with leatherette highlights. It's a carryover from the Autograph motorhome range, and it'll set you back about £200. The sofas combine to form a generous double, but they're also up to 10% longer depending on the model, so can be used as single berths for kids or teenagers. The cushions are comfortable, though you'll have to turn them round to make a double because these knee rolls are quite pronounced. There's an occasional table in the front chest, or if you need more space, there's a freestanding table mounted in the rear wardrobe. There are some attractive touches, such as these raked backrests, the padded window surround, and the soft close hinges for the overhead lockers. They feature the new Timber Effect Mendip Ash finish in two-tone satin and gloss with chrome handles. Together with the Italian stone worktops and LED lighting throughout, it gives a really contemporary feel in here. In response to customer demand, these fixed beds have been made wider by 2 inches, taking them up to 2'4". That's not the widest in the class, but they don't feel pinched, and this walkway between is still nice and wide. There's a mounting point for a television in here, but it's no longer standard equipment. Bailey found that customers preferred to spec their own television and would rather have a solar panel instead, so there's a 100-watt Truma item in the roof. One of the major criticisms of the old Unicorn was its shower unit being too small, and Bailey has addressed that head-on by making the new one 25% bigger with a domestic-style door. Instead of a towel rail, which struggled to heat the large washroom, there's now an extra radiator for the Aldi wet central heating system. There's also a large hanging wardrobe in here, along with a laundry basket. There wasn't a lot wrong with Unicorn 2. Spacious, well equipped and well built. With Unicorn 3, Bailey has added to its appeal with a fresh look, a more contemporary feel and some thoughtful tweaks to the layouts. Plus, all single axle Tourers will remain under 1500 kilos. It's proof that if it ain't broke, you don't need to fix it, but you can always make it better. Well, they're all great vans and all have their pluses and minuses. But which one do I like best? Well, for its blend of luxury and value, not to mention its extra long fixed twin berths, I've got to go for the Bailey Unicorn Cadiz. Now we'll come to a short break now, but don't go away, because when we come back, our David Motton will be telling you what kind of car you can tow your fixed twin bed van with. And I'll be heading for Malvern to find out if this layout works as well for families as it does for couples. See you in just a few minutes.
Adrian Flux Insurance, proud sponsors of The Caravan Channel.